I get no pleasure from saying that Slave to the Grind flopped. I love Slave to the Grind. It is my favorite Skid Row album. None of the Slave to the Grind singles were hits. Not even fucking close. An album can flop and go platinum. Don't expect everybody to agree. Well, you probably should. Look, I came here to do two things: chew bubblegum and talk hair metal. And it looks like I'm almost out of bubblegum. Welcome to the Hair Metal Guru. My name is Anthony. They call me the Guru. And this is Charlie. She's desperate for attention. So please tell her that you love her because she's very nice, she's very pretty, and you're very famous on YouTube. That's right. And you're going to kill the cat later. So today's going to be a different kind of episode because I've been thinking a lot about some of the comments that I've gotten on a video. And I am perfectly fine with people disagreeing with the shit that I say. Hey, I don't expect everybody to agree. Well, you probably should. But, you know, people like what they like. There are certain... I don't like funk bands, okay? That means that I'm not a huge Bang Tango fan. I like some Bang Tango, but I completely respect Bang Tango. And I like bands that have singers that don't always necessarily have pretty voices. So whatever. My point is that we can agree to disagree on a lot of things. However, the one thing that I think I've covered on this channel that has gotten the most blowback from people that watch is this. Was the Skid Row album Slave to the Grind a flop? If you remember a while back now, I'll put the video in the description, but Metal Mike from the 80s Glam Metalcast and I did a video and we each listed 10 albums that we thought had flopped. And we said in the introduction that just because we said an album flopped didn't mean that it didn't sell a lot. An album can flop and go platinum, okay? I listed Def Leppard's Adrenalize as a flop, and okay, I got a lot of shit for that too. Whatever. I said Adrenalize was a flop in comparison to what had happened with Hysteria and with what I'm sure the band and the record label were thinking Adrenalize was going to do. Adrenalize only sold 3 million copies. Hysteria, I don't know, at 1992, I don't know if it had gone 10 times platinum yet, but it was definitely around 8. So I'm sure they thought it was at least going to sell 5 million copies. Well, the same thing kind of is true with Skid Row's Slave to the Grind, okay? And if I'm looking over at my computer, it's because I took some notes on songs that were released as singles and other stuff like that to make my point. Okay, so let's get into it. The Skid Row 1989 debut album, which I love, and for that matter, I love Slave to the Grind. It is my favorite Skid Row album. I think it's phenomenal. I'm shocked it only went 2 times platinum. But the debut album sold 5 million copies. Okay? It had 3 singles that were released. Number 1, Youth Gone Wild. Now, Youth Gone Wild, and first singles don't always blow up for bands. And most people know Skid Row. You know, Youth Gone Wild would be one of the songs that everyone knows. Well, it went to number 99 on the Hot 100, and you know, which isn't that great. It went to number 27 on the rock charts. Okay, but it set the band up for success with the next 2 singles, which were both, you know, a lot of people say, is 18 in Life a ballad? Well, a ballad can be a slow song that tells a story, so I consider 18 in Life a ballad. 18 in Life went to number 4 on the Hot 100. And that means all the songs, that's where you're talking about being mixed in with Mariah Carey and Michael fucking Jackson, okay? Goes to number 4 on the Hot 100. number 11 on the mainstream rock charts. What's the third single? I Remember You went to number 6 on the Hot 100. It was the sixth most popular song in America when it reached its peak on the charts. It went to number 23 on the mainstream rock charts. But the Hot 100 is the big one. That's the one you want to be on if you want to be a popular band and sell more copies than just to the rock fans. Okay? So, but not, well, shit. Okay, and FYI, I'm getting my stuff from Wikipedia. So if something is wrong, please correct me. Okay, I'm perfectly fine with admitting that I could be wrong. Wikipedia can be wrong, but not all of this stuff is available everywhere. So that's where I went. Okay, but wasn't Piece of Me? Piece of Me had a video too, but I didn't find any figures for that. So if anybody knows the information for the Piece of Me song single, let me know. But there was nothing listed in Wikipedia. So, but besides those, those 3 singles, and especially 2 singles, which were both ballads, doing very well, Skid Row was huge during that time. They were on the cover of all of the rock magazines. Okay, there were always articles on the band. Sebastian Bach was the biggest sex symbol in music for a period of time. All of that time from when the debut album was blowing up to Slave to the Grind being released. So there was a lot of buildup in the preparation for Slave to the Grind to come out. Now, Slave to the Grind was released on June 11th, 1991. Okay? Metallica's Black Album was released 1 month later on August 12th. Nirvana's Nevermind was released on September 24th. And the Guns N' Roses Illusion albums were released on September 17th, all of 1991. So Skid Row was the first album of those huge rock albums of that year to be released. And yes, it debuted at number 1. It sold 134,000 copies in the first week. I remember thinking, like, holy shit, Skid Row is going to be the biggest band of the 1990s. Little did I fucking know. Okay. But, that was when SoundScan first was available. It was when they first started having a real idea or having concrete evidence of where albums were on the charts. They used to just call record stores and ask them who was selling a lot, and that's how they based the charts. But SoundScan meant you were getting the numbers of actual albums. And I remember I was on a Lutheran church trip with my high school youth group, and we were in Texas when that album was released. And me and my best friend Dave both went to the music store in the mall in Texas where we were staying, and he bought the CD and I bought the cassette. We were so fucking pumped about this album. But they put out the first single, Monkey Business. Now you remember that, okay, Youth Gone Wild only went to 99 on the Hot 100, but 18 of Life went to number 4. I Remember You went to number 6. Where did Monkey Business go? We're talking about one of the biggest bands in the world, at least according to the media, the magazines, and first week sales position. Monkey Business did not reach the Hot 100. It did go to number 13 on the rock charts. But isn't that a big red flag? It didn't even reach the top 100? Yeah, Metallica's Enter Sandman, and now, now it looks stupid to compare Slave to the Grind to the Black Album. But man, when Slave came out, and then when the Black Album came out, I mean, a lot of us, were thinking, shit, they're, gonna be bands they're gonna be peers. And looking back, yeah, the Black Album sold fucking 20 million copies or whatever it was. Slave only sold 2. But okay, so they release a follow-up single, Slave to the Grind. Now I love that song. That might be my favorite rock song on that album. There was a video released, but at least according to Wikipedia, it didn't chart at all on the rock charts or anything. So was it released as an actual single in America? Wikipedia said no. I do know that it went to number 43 on the UK rock charts. Okay, but the point I'm making is that these songs that had videos made and released in America were not becoming hits. Okay, so you say, well, here, those 2, Monkey Business and Slave to the Grind, those are heavy fucking songs. And it's not unusual for heavy songs to not become hits. Well, now we get into the next 3 singles, are ballads. We start with Wasted Time, the last song on the album. Where did that go? Number 88 on the Hot 100. Not even a sniff on the top 40. That's a failure. That's a failure. It went to number 30 on the mainstream rock chart. In a Darkened Room, charted in Switzerland, did not make the Hot 100 in America. Quicksand Jesus, there's nothing, there's no fucking information on Quicksand Jesus. Now, okay, I'm 51. I turned 18 in October 24th of 1990. So when this album came out, I was 18, getting ready to turn 19. And I was so fucking pumped about Skid Row. I said this before. When I was 17, 18 years old, there's not a band that I related to more than Skid Row. Then I'll probably add Warrant once Cherry Pie came out and I Saw Red came out. But I listened to the radio. You know, it's not like you had fucking iPods and Apple Music back in 1991. I listened to rock radio, probably Q98 in Fargo, North Dakota. I think I heard Monkey Business once on the radio. I never remember hearing the other songs, and trust me, I would remember because Slave to the Grind is a very important album in my life. Okay, so I had a guy who just commented about this album, said he didn't think it was a flop. He said he remembered hearing the songs all over the place in Denver. Well, maybe that's true. Maybe Denver had some rock radio stations that really supported the Slave to the Grind album and the Slave to the Grind singles. But the fact is that nationally, according to the charts that I'm telling you, none of the Slave to the Grind singles were hits. Not even fucking close. So why did Slave sell 2 million albums? If it's a flop, Mr. Guru, well, it sold 2 million albums because of all of the goodwill that the 1989 debut built up. Skid Row were massive. So for a while, even if you weren't, even a lot of people that still weren't hearing those singles on the radio, like me, I wasn't hearing the singles on the radio. You were still such a big fan of Youth Gone Wild, 18 in Life, I Remember You, of the singles and that whole fucking album, that a lot of people were still going to buy it because of loyalty to the band. Back when loyalty to bands meant something. But it stopped at 2 million. And if those, and by the way, I think those songs should have been hits. I love Slave to the Grind. How did Wasted Time not get into the mainstream Hot 100? How did it not go top 10? How did Monkey Business not go top 40? How did In and Darkened Room not go top 40. If they had had a bunch of hits in the top 40, this album would have gone 3 to 5 times platinum, and we'd probably be talking about Skid Row in a different light. So it doesn't, I get no pleasure from saying that Slave to the Grind flopped. I wish we were sitting here talking about how Slave to the Grind sold 10 million copies and, you know, Skid Row, Guns N' Roses, and Metallica survived the grunge explosion and thrived in the 1990s. But you have to think of Slave to the Grind as a flop. Look at what happened. If it had been a huge, massive hit, then Subhuman Race might have stood a chance of selling some copies. Now, I do think that Subhuman Race was a complete pile of shit. But Slave to the Grind wasn't. Okay? Slave to the Grind deserved better. It deserved to do in sales what the 1989 debut album did. But the facts show that it flopped. Okay? Not just me, Mr. Guru, the facts. Now, I know somebody's going to say 2 million copies is not a flop. Okay, that's fine. You can believe that. But if you think that when they release this album, if you think the record company and the band, if you would have told them when this album was coming out and debuting at number 1 that, hey guys, this album is going to fall off the charts, none of the singles are going to be hits, and you're going to sell dramatically less than half of what your previous album sold, if you would have told them that, and if you think that the label or the band would have said, yes, I am happy, that will make Slave to the Grind a hit, you're wrong. You're fucking wrong. Okay? So the point of the video is just to give you the proof that I don't think I went into detail on what the singles did the last time Metal Mike and I talked about whether or not Slave to the Grind was a flop. I just made the point that it sold 2 million copies compared to the debut selling 5 million. So that's my point. I think it's a flop. It was a failure compared to the previous album, and 2 million was not what that record label and what the band were hoping for. So thanks for listening to my rant. Let me know in the comments, you know, hey, and disagree. It's fine. But some people were so fucking fired up that they got to be dicks. Like, you know, oh, you don't know shit. Slave to the Grind. And whatever. I'm a big boy. I was in the military for 22 years, not trying to toot my horn. I deployed to a couple wars. It's okay. Okay? So if you know, even if you're a dick, if you watch the video, thank you. All right? But hey, I'm okay with having a respectful conversation. I think they flopped. Maybe you don't. It's fine if you don't. I think the facts show otherwise. Let me know what you think in the comments. And hey, if you're new to the channel, I would love it if you like, subscribe. Okay, I'm always talking these types of bands, this type of music. So what the hell? Ring the bell. Get notified when I release videos. Hey, come along for the ride, and let's talk about the greatest musical generation of all time, 80s and 90s, hair metal, hard rock, heavy metal, whatever you want to call it. Until the next video comes out, my name is Anthony. They call me the Guru. Take care.